Hey guys, Casey here. Welcome back to Lions Den Investments and Reviews. In today's video, got a lot of big news on Theta, and it's very bullish right now for Theta and Tfuel. And we're also going to talk about the crypto market as a whole and whether or not we're going into mass adoption, guys. Because honestly, I think that we are right around the corner for going into mass adoption. We may not be there yet, but I want to talk about that because it kind of ties in with this El Salvador situation with adopting Bitcoin and setting up their mining facilities through the geothermal technology and using volcanoes for that. So we'll talk about that here. But first, I want to just cover briefly the technical analysis on Tfuel. Right now, we're looking extremely bullish on Tfuel, guys. We hit support and bounced off support here at about 48 cents. And it looks like we're getting ready to go into leg 3 of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliott wave impulse. So we've got a little bit of resistance here at about 58 cents, but we're looking pretty good. Volume's starting to pick up. And if we can smash through that 58, 59 cents, again, like I said, we are off to the races. Now, Theta, let's take a look at that because Theta's looking like it's doing pretty good too. It's right now at about $9.56. Looks like we're getting some good volume. And the volume's starting to pick up, and I would expect over the next couple days you'll probably see that pick up as well. In price, we got resistance here at about $9.96 or $10. So once we can break that, we'd be looking back at resistance around like $12.38, and that would be my next stop on Theta. Again, guys, you can't project these markets and predict them 100%, so you just have to wait and see. But it looks like right now we might still be playing out leg 1 on Theta. And because of that, I would say that Tfuel is getting out ahead of Theta when it comes to price action. So that's pretty interesting to say the least, because you might be asking, why is that, right? Well, you had the Tfuel burning. Okay, so what they were doing is increasing the gas fees and transaction fees on Theta, which burns Tfuel, which reduces your supply on Tfuel as well. And then you got the Mainnet 3.0, where we've got 13 days left here before that goes live, and that is going to introduce Tfuel staking and uptime mining. Guys, if you're not familiar with staking on Tfuel, you can go ahead and click here, join today, and download the Theta Edge node to participate on that and become an Edge node, and you can start looking into earning Theta, or I'm sorry, you can look into earning Tfuel. The other thing you can do is go over here to Gpool and set up an account, because here they've got Tfuel, and look, Tfuel staking is coming with Mainnet 3.0 June 30th. So that's exciting news, guys, especially because the rate of returns on Tfuel are far greater than Theta. Okay, and a lot of this is based on inflation rates for the supply and circulation of tokens, and there's a couple other metrics that go into that as well. But if you're interested, go out and check out some of the other videos that I shot just recently, where I'm showing you how to set up an account on Gpool and go ahead and stake your Tfuel. Because right now, I don't know if any of you guys listening are beta testers on Tfuel, but let me know how that's going for you and what the earnings are on Tfuel. So moving forward here, switching gears, let's go over to the news on Theta, because the market's moving at such a fast pace. It's hard to keep up with everything. And so what I'm doing here is just going to Theta Network's Twitter page, and as you can see, we had a article that came out from CNN Business, right? And they're talking about Theta. Look at this. This is mainstream adoption, guys, for Theta. I mean, I don't know how many people have actually read this article, but if we just go in here and see what they said about it, you can see, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the Coke and Pepsi of crypto. Their combined value of about 1 trillion accounts for nearly 2/3 of overall 1.6 trillion in digital currencies worldwide. But just as some soft drink fans prefer Dr. Pepper, there are also plenty of other alternatives in the crypto, more than 10,000 of them, according to the research site coinmarketcap.com, right? Many of these altcoins have legitimate niche use cases for specific industries. They aren't started as a joke crypto like Elon Musk's beloved Dogecoin and its canine cousin Shiba Inu, right? One of the better performing pairs of cryptos this year are two related tokens that are geared towards online content creators. And here it is, guys, right here on CNN Business, Theta and Tfuel. Theta has soared. If you're curious about the growth here, Theta has soared almost 400% in 2021, while Tfuel, check this out, is up an astounding 1700%. And we are just getting started, guys. So if you like that news, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel here. Let's keep going. That's the CNN article, right? So we'll go back here. The other big news is Theta got a new validator node here, DHVC, right? They're a $500 million asset manager joining the Theta network as an enterprise validator. So let's go ahead and open up the article here and see what they have to say. This is interesting because the director, I believe it's the director, let me see if I can find it, he was talking about the growth of, this guy right here, Ali Farhanchi. I probably butchered his name there, but he's the managing director at DHVC. He was talking about being thrilled to expand their support for Theta as an enterprise validator and governance council member, taking a direct role in securing its blockchain. He added that Theta has made impressive progress and massive progress since we led the Series A equity round in 2017. So these guys have been investors in Theta since 2017. And here he says, we expect another 100x growth as the protocol transforms the media and entertainment industry through blockchain and decentralized technologies. So right here, we expect another 100x growth. And if you look at where Theta's at right now in price range, at 954, a 100x growth would put Theta at $954, guys. Now, here's the thing. They don't go into time frames. They don't tell you exactly when they think that's going to be. It could be a year from now, 2 years from now. We don't know. What I can tell you, though, is that DHVC, being a capital venture firm, okay, their projections, like what they do is invest in AI, cryptos, in the blockchain space and a couple other sectors. And as it is in capital venture firms, they're in very, very high demand and competition with other folks out there in the market. And they have to make sure that they get a return on their investment, okay? If they don't, they're pretty much toast. And, according to the numbers that we just saw with the growth of Theta and Tfuel so far, it was an excellent investment on their behalf. And, they're that comment right there, expecting another 100x growth. They're looking at the returns probably, I would have to guess to say that they're looking at those returns short term, probably in the next 1 to 2 years, okay? Because they can't afford to wait 5-10 years for something to take off. They're in the business of making money fast. So that's exciting news. If you guys like that, hit the like button. But switching gears here, guys, I want to talk about the mass adoption for Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is ahead of Theta right now. But if you understand the fundamentals of where Bitcoin is as the dominant crypto in the blockchain space, you're going to understand where Theta and some of these altcoins are headed over the next couple of years, because they're going to follow they're going to follow the path of Bitcoin. This is Michael Saylor, and in talking about mass adoption, I was saying that we are probably in the later phases of the mainstream adoption when it comes to tokens like Bitcoin and Ethereum being the overall dominant cryptos in the market. Let's hear what he has to say here, because he's talking to Sean Hannity, guys, in this interview, and this just took place on June 9th, okay? So this is mainstream news right here. This is mainstream adoption. Let's hear what he has to say about Bitcoin.
One thing seems very clear, and that is that cryptocurrency appears to be gaining more and more momentum. For example, El Salvador recently announced residents there can pay their taxes with Bitcoin. Silicon Valley titans, whether you like his politics or not, CEO of Twitter, Jack Dorsey, he's promoting it as the way of the future. So do you know what a blockchain is? What is blockchain technology? What are the differences between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a bunch of other cryptocurrencies? What is a Bitcoin wallet? What is an exchange? One thing I can say is that the phenomenon and interest is very real. Here to break it all down, MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor is with us. All right, from a distance, I have been following you. I have been studying you. I have spent hundreds of hours with two particular friends of mine. They broke me down. And I wish I knew more. I still can't explain the algorithm. I know what an algorithm is, but an algorithm that never has a final answer, I have a hard time understanding. Why don't you break this down simply for people like me that don't fully understand it?
Okay. Well, let's start with the basic principle. People came to the United States for two things: property and freedom. And Bitcoin represents property and freedom to 8 billion people. Satoshi created a computer program that would run in a distributed fashion on computers all around the earth. And that program creates 21 million virtual coins in cyberspace. The way it works is he created perfect digital gold on an open monetary network. And so that means if you wanted to save $1,000 and you wanted to have it beyond the reach of a company, a CEO, a government, a bank, and you wanted to have personal custody of it, you could have that with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a technical solution to give 8 billion people property rights. If I can own $100 in my hand as easily as I can own $1 billion. And we've never had that in the history of the human race. So what does it mean to El Salvador? Well, at El Salvador, you have a bunch of people that don't have a bank, and they don't have assets, and they don't have access to Wall Street. So when their relatives remit money back to El Salvador, they lose 10% of their money through money transfer agents. Once they get the money, they lose 10 to 20% of its value a year because they're storing it in a currency, not in an asset. The exciting thing about Bitcoin is Bitcoin lets you save your money in an asset that goes up in value, and it lets you move that asset at the speed of light all around the planet. And
All right, so let's stop right there for a minute because he did say basically that it's property, right? What he's talking about is when it comes to taxes. Let's say you're in real estate. If you got a house and let's say you want to move out of the country and you want to take that house with you, you can't do that. You got to sell the house, right? With Bitcoin, you don't have to do that. You can take that in your wallet or your ledger and take it with you, so it's borderless when it comes to property. That's one of the key elements and benefits to owning Bitcoin long term. And guys, Michael Saylor is a hedge fund manager. Okay, and most hedge fund managers are short term when it comes to any type of asset. I specifically think Michael Saylor's perspective on this is very unique compared to others because he has a more long-term view on cryptos as a whole and what Bitcoin represents here. So I just want to clear that up for you when he's talking about property. The other thing that he was talking about here is the El Salvador situation, right? And I'll get into that here in a minute because the World Bank rejected El Salvador for basically assistance, financial assistance when it comes to their mining facilities. So we'll cover that here in a minute. But, he's talking about how El Salvador, they don't have access to money and to bank accounts and stuff like that. What El Salvador is trying to do here, guys, they're not trying to replace the U.S. dollar, okay? They're trying to work alongside it as kind of an alternative to, means of exchange and whatnot. And if you've watched some of my other videos, I talk about the energy consumption and stuff like that. So you can go check those videos out because they've came up with a very clever solution to the problem of Bitcoin when it comes to transactions. Okay, so let's hear what else he has to say here.
And what the president of El Salvador realized is using the Bitcoin network, they could cut $1 billion of cost in remittances every year to their people. They could put themselves on the world's first digital monetary network. And instead of their people losing 10 to 20% of their value a year and 10% when they move it, they're going to actually make money and they're going to be able to move that value around for free.
The other thing I forgot to mention here is he was talking about Bitcoin going up in price, always going up. A lot of people get that confused with short-term prices, right? So they'll see Bitcoin come down in price, and then they look at guys like Michael Saylor saying it's always going up, and they don't understand when you're listening to guys like Michael Saylor, you got to understand that Bitcoin, he has a long-term perspective on it. So the long-term trend on Bitcoin is always up. And I just want to throw a few facts out here real quick, just to fact check myself. I took notes on this because when it comes to Bitcoin, right, and the growth, I can tell you Bitcoin's not going away, and here's why. Because over a 52-week period, a one-year period, Bitcoin has went up 300%. In 2 years, we've went up 850%. In 3 years, 1,200%. 5 years, Bitcoin has went up 8,000%, and within the last decade, Bitcoin has went up 100,000%. So, when you look at those numbers and you think about it, is Bitcoin going down or is it going up? And that's what he's referring to when Bitcoin is going up in price.
Michael, let me ask you this. I mean, because you talk a lot about the history of sound money and other cryptocurrencies, but you really think it's Bitcoin. You think Bitcoin is the breakout for a reason. Why over, say, Ethereum or any other one?
Bitcoin is the dominant crypto asset network. It's the oldest, it's the strongest, it's the most secure, and it was engineered to do one thing well, which is to keep track of 21 million virtual coins in cyberspace. The other cryptos are applications, and application networks are focused upon functionality or performance. Bitcoin is optimized for durability, integrity, security. If I want to store $1 billion for 1,000 years, I don't want a lot of bells and whistles on it. I just want to know it's secure and nobody's going to change it. So why Bitcoin? Because Satoshi started with a model of gold, and then he got rid of all the defects of gold. If you took gold and you said you can't mine anymore, you can't use it for jewelry, and nobody can rehypothecate it or short it, and you could take personal custody of it in your head, and no one can steal it from you, you would have a better gold. And so Bitcoin is designed to be that long-term store of value. And of course, humans have been looking for a way to store their life force in a store of value for thousands and thousands of years. It's kind of part of the human dream.
What do you say to critics that worry that it will lose all of its value? Or what do you say, clearly governments, some seem to be dead set against this. What do you say to them?
Well, first of all, it's the most successful technology in our lifetimes. It's grown faster and more powerfully than Google or Facebook or Apple or Amazon. And it's a network and an asset that's held by about 150 million people, and we're adding 2 million people a week. So other than the dollar and the euro, it's the most widely held monetary asset in the world. And there's every indication that nation states are embracing it. Jerome Powell says it's a digital asset. Christine Lagarde says it's a digital asset. The head of the SEC taught a class on it. I think.
Yeah, Jerome Powell, head of the Fed. Christine Lagarde being the director or overseeing the European Central Bank at one point, and now heading up the IMF.
That people understand it's not a threat to the dollar, by the way. What's going to happen is the U.S. dollar is going to be the world reserve currency, and it's going to run on billions and billions of mobile devices, and the digital asset that underlies that currency is going to be Bitcoin.
Wow. I will tell you, my friends got me addicted.
All right, there you go, guys. That was some bombshell information there. Coming from a billionaire hedge fund manager who has a long-term perspective on Bitcoin and cryptos as a whole. But moving forward here, let's go into what they were talking about there with El Salvador, because I told you the World Bank rejects El Salvador's request for Bitcoin help, right? And I'm just going to summarize it here for you without going into too much detail. But basically, their concerns in this article are over environmental and transparency concerns, okay? Now, environmentally, like I said, you can go back and watch one of my other videos where I talk about the energy consumption on Bitcoin. I explain that for you, okay? And I also talk to you about the solution that El Salvador has put together for the environmental concerns. And it's a brilliant one. So you can't really argue, that there's concerns there for that because they have the solution for it. Transparency. Transparency, guys. Bitcoin ledger is transparent, okay? It is a distributed ledger technology. The data that goes on to any type of blockchain is immutable, all right? So it can be tracked. And furthermore, I'm going to ask a question real quick when it comes to transparency. And this is the same thing that El Salvador president should be using as a rebuttal for this rejection. And that is, okay, well, what about cash, right? Or banking credits, are those transparent? Because if I recall, just, about 20 years ago, the Pentagon lost like up to $2.3 trillion. It disappeared and nobody knew where it went, right? So can you trust the banks when it comes to tracking money and cash? And, taking it a step further, I'm just going off some notes here real quick so I don't miss anything. But what about the RICO Act, right? Look up the RICO Act if you're not familiar with it, because what it entails is tracking organized crime and financial activities. And that was set up so that people could not do the wrong thing when it comes to stuff like this. So if they're so concerned with all that stuff, why don't they look at their own acts that they've already created? I'm just saying, And then the IMF here, they also said in this article that they're not against the implementation of Bitcoin, but they do see macroeconomic, financial, and legal issues with El Salvador's Bitcoin adoption. So it's really confusing what they're doing here, guys, because what they're doing is they're going back and forth. They're saying, well, we're not against the adoption of Bitcoin, but on the other hand, we kind of are. So honestly, what I see taking place here is El Salvador was reaching out to the Western banking system, going straight to the top, saying, hey, can you help us? If they were not to help them, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I think what you're going to see is countries like Russia and China and some of their central banks come to the aid of El Salvador here. Either that or, it's going to kind of go back and forth between the World Bank here, the IMF, and El Salvador for months on end. You're going to have a whole nother situation play out here where people just pay attention and kind of hope for the best. But I think, honestly, you're going to see some other countries come to the aid of El Salvador, and this will eventually get pushed through, because the inevitable here, guys, is that we're moving into a new financial system, and there's a battle being waged for the hash rate of Bitcoin and who controls the protocol ledgers on the cross-border payment systems for this new financial system that is going to encompass a multitude of CDBCs, which would be your central bank digital currencies. Okay, so with that said, remember, they want what you have. Hold on to what you have. I don't know why you would sell Bitcoin or Ethereum right now, especially at these prices. I would be buying, if anything, and then just hold on for dear life. HODL. And with that in mind, guys, remember, like I said, there's a war being waged between countries here. And as I always say in my channel, fear nothing, my friends. That's all I got for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Hit that subscribe button. It helps with the YouTube algorithm. And if you want more content like this later on, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and check out some of my other videos. But with that said, I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will talk to you later.